just a woman. Help me believe in what I could be and all that I am. Show me the stairway I have to climb. Lord, for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking of you. Just give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. Lord, help me today, show me the way, one day at a time. Do you remember when you walked among men?
We are gathered here today to remember the most committed and loving spouse, great father, son, brother, friend, an accomplished legal practitioner, budding scholar, first-rate jurist, and one of the most promising judges of our time, Honorable Justice Joseph Louis Onguto.
Now and then, pushing and shoving.
Born on the 5th of December 1964 to the late Richard Onguto and Mama Rose Onguto of Gem Dudi, Justice Onguto grew up in Yala Township. He lost his father at the age of 5 years. Left under the care of his mother and uncle, the late Humphreys Othino, Justice Onguto grew up into a calm and focused young man. Christened Louis at baptism by his English godfather, the name proved a tongue twister to locals, who humorously corrupted it to Lucy, and that is how he is known to the family. Mrs. Rose Onguto remembers her loving son leaving a wide gap in the family, constantly referring to her son as Jaber Osip G. Duto, and prays that her son rests well until they meet in glory.
We are strong because our God of all comfort has been with us. Your love and faith has sustained us, knowing that you are in a great place, heaven. You did a lot for us. You are the pillar of our home, your mom's house. We cannot still cry about your passing away. We know where you went. Now we can set you free. Let us be strong. God is still with us. We should not mourn more about your passing away. We knew where you have gone. I'm still thanking God because He has been with me. He has made me to be strong. I know you are in a good place. Rest in peace, my son. Be with your angels, Nyathina.
Patrick Odinga, an elder brother to Justice, recalls pretty well growing up how Louis was a jovial, honest, and good footballer.
I recall Justice as a very, very jovial character, and one of the major aspects which I'll never forget from him is the aspect of honesty. He was such a honest guy that I would sometimes wonder, despite being of a younger age than us, this guy was so honest. All that I would tell the family is just to be strong. the kids to be just remain the same the way they were, because all of us are together and we are tied as a family. Where we are able to, we shall support each other. May God bless all, na Mungu aweke roho yake mahali pema.
Dorothy Onguto wondered why her brother left so soon. She said that the family will greatly and dearly misjudge. A wonderful man you were. Keep smiling on the angels. R.I.P. bro.
When we were growing up, he did so much to us. He loved the whole family. I remember an incident when he went to Nairobi University. He joined to go and study law. So he would come back home and bring for me the sister. We were three sisters. So he would buy for us shoes, the latest shoes on fashion, so that the sisters could be in the trend as others. Now he would be very particular on us when it came to studies. He used to tell us, don't think that if you don't work hard now, you will come to my house and disturb me with my wife. And that gave us the determination to work very hard in our family, and indeed we made it. Now when Justice was home, he would check on our report forms. I remember we would come back home at around 10, all of us. We were around 6 people in a boarding school. He's the one who would check our report form. So he was very stern, he was caring. He really wanted the best from all of us in that family. You brought our family together. We hope that we are going to stick together the way you are, though nobody can fill your gap, Justice. Justice Onguto, nobody can fill Justice gap. Too generous, too loving. We miss you, Justice. Rest in peace, my brother.
Wilfred Odinga remembers Justice Onguto as a brother, cousin, and mentor.
Onguto was a very simple man. Onguto is the type of person who could listen to every member of the family. Does not matter what status you are. So to me, I can refer to him as a brother, a cousin, and a mentor.
Since Justice left us, things have changed seriously. I remember Justice, how he used to pay for school fees for the needy, how he used to contribute to the church. I pray for God to rest Justice's soul in peace.
To Kode Awura, Justice Onguto was more of a friend than a cousin. To him, the most painful goodbyes are the ones that are never said and never explained.
The Justice I knew was fun-loving, was jocular, had a great sense of humor. He had a nickname for almost all his friends. He would never call you by your real name. And on a lighter note, I'd say this. Because of this, Justice's children grew up calling me Uncle Fat, and I accepted it. That was the Justice Onguto I knew.
To the Aditi family, Justice was a jovial man. He never minced his words. His charisma saw the family united, even in the midst of adversary.
The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore.
Justice Onguto attended St. Kizito Nursery School in Yala before joining St. Teresa's Primary School in the same town.
St. Teresa's Primary School was a girls-only school, but since his mother, Rose Onguto, was a senior teacher at the school, he was allowed to attend the school up to Standard 4, after which he joined Anyiko Primary School, braving the daily 4 kilometers trek for 3 years. He sat for his CPE exams in 1977 and excelled highly. He joined St. Mary's High School, Yala, in 1978, an admirable school whose alumni boasts the late Tom Boya, a Waring's Kodek, Professor Oduro Oruko, Governor Professor John Longapuko, Justices Joseph Misime, and Emmanuel Okabuso.
He sat for his O-level exams in 1981 and, needless to say, passed with flying colors and proceeded to Cardinal Otunga High School, where he sat for his A-levels in 1983. He was then admitted to the Faculty of Law, University of Nairobi, where he graduated in 1988. He then joined the Kenya School of Law and did his pupillage with Wambugu and Company Advocates, Gautama and Kibuchi Advocates.
His classmate and friend, Advocate
Wilfred Nderito,
remembers Justice Louis Onguto well from the time when they joined University of Nairobi until the time of his demise, being 33 years later.
I've known the late Honorable Justice Joseph Louis Onguto since September or October of the year 1985, when we first met at the University of Nairobi in our first year of studies at the Faculty of Law. Right from the time I met him, Joe and I became very good friends. Students at the university, we had all our good moments there. And eventually, it was as a matter of easy choice that I ended up sharing a house with him. After we had left the university and the Kenya School of Law. And I remember very fondly how we were courting our girlfriends together, and our girlfriends were later to become our wives. And I would say that some of the things that made Joe a natural choice in terms of friendship was the way he had a sense of humor. He was a man who was fine. He had finesse, and I could see that in everything that he did, he wanted to look pleasing and pleasurable. I also remember his very, very high sense of self-worth, how he was honest. And of course, it really did come to me as a shock when he passed on the 1st of March last year. I still remember that evening when I received WhatsApp messages. I was in shock, and he's a person that I shall continue to truly miss. And he was a person who really added value to the judiciary. And I remember, with regard to that, the fact that for a long time after he had been proposed for appointment as judge, the formal appointment by the president was long in coming. And I just kept on saying that it's really unfortunate that the country is not rising to the occasion and having him appointed in good time, because he's one person that I knew even sacrificed so much to join the bench, because he was running a thriving practice in conveyancing, and he was of a very, very high legal mind, even in other aspects that he was not practicing on a day-to-day basis. For example, human rights, and this was to very easily be seen when he went into the Constitutional and Human Rights Division. The soundness of his judgments is perhaps his greatest legacy, and I really thank God that Joe was able to serve and make an impact on the legal profession within the short time that we had him.
This world is not my home, I'm just a passing through. My treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. The The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. Oh Lord, you know.
In his part, Advocate Musimi Mbaka said he has known Joseph Louis Onguto since 1985, when they both joined the Faculty of Law, University of Nairobi, for a 3-year course.
I knew Justice Onguto in 1985 when we joined the Faculty of Law at the University of Nairobi as first years. We spent 3 years together, and then after our degree course, we went to the Kenya School of Law together. When we were students, we became very close friends, and we did our studies together. We used to study together, and this friendship continued even when we were at the School of Law. Upon admission as advocates, me and Justice Onguto, and we had pet names for one another. We used to call each other Buddy. And it is not just Buddy the way I pronounce it. He would always used to pronounce it as Buddy. And as you can guess, Buddy is a close friend. When we were admitted as advocates, we did a lot of work with him on a voluntary basis for an organization called the Judicial, where we took up a lot of pro bono work. On the social front, we were close. When he was getting married to Consolata, I took him to CI for the dowry negotiations, and later on, he honored me and my wife to be godparents for his second son, David. Then my son, my firstborn son, is a lawyer, and when he needed pupillage, Mbande took him as his pupil and he trained him. Now, throughout our professional lives, we associated very closely. I would always consult him because he was a very brilliant lawyer. And he would always, whenever I had something that I needed clarified, whenever I had a matter that I needed a second opinion on, I would always call him and he would give me very good insights.
Justice Louis Onguto was admitted to the Advocate of the High Court of Kenya in 1989. He did brief stints in 1991 to 1992 as an associate with PL Onlao and Co. Advocates and Kilonzo and Co. Advocates. He returned to Ombugu and Co. Advocates, where he worked until 2002 when he established his own law firm, J. Louis Onguto Firm, being the partner in charge of commercial and conveyance matters. Mike Ondondo Owino is still in shock as he refers to Justice as Your Lordship, thanking him for always treating him like that special kid bro.
Your Lord, you guided me, you instructed me, you were always there for me, and you told me patience above all else. I am using all those tools, all those skills that you imparted to me, and I hope one day I'll be able to make you proud. You are missed, Justice. We always think about you. You are my family, my sister, my nephews, my niece. I watch over them, and I continue to play that role for them that you did for me. Again, rest in peace, brother. Until the next time. Thanks.
A valiant man, he left the security of a paid employment to establish his firm at a time when he was also advancing his LLM degree in commercial law from the University of London. George was a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators and a certified public secretary, serving also as a member of the Disciplinary Tribunal of the Law Society of Kenya. George lectured at the Kenya School of Law and was also an active member of the Kenyan section of International Commission of Jurists.
Precious Redeemer and friend, who would have thought that a lamb?
Justice Onguto met the love of his life, Consolato Owino, at Nairobi University's women's hostel, where Consolata had gone to visit her good friend Anne Jogu. It was indeed love at first sight.
The funny thing is that Justice Onguto and Consol met in my room one Friday evening, and it was a meeting like no other because they took to each other, straight up, and the friendship developed very, very quickly, blossoming to an amazing love relationship, and that ended up in marriage. Justice Onguto was an amazing person. I called him Louis, and he always called me Anna. And I remember him as a very, very soft-spoken man who spoke his truth softly, quietly, but very, very firmly. I also remember Onguto as an incredibly committed family man. He loved Consol. He doted on her. He loved his family. He loved his children, could do anything. The best part about what I'll always remember is his integrity. Justice Onguto's integrity was beyond reproach.
As Harvey Hendricks observes, marriage ultimately is the practice of becoming passionate friends. After 5 years of courting, Lucy wedded the love of his life, Consolata Owino, whom he'd formerly referred to as Conso, on the 5th of December, 1992, on his 28th birthday. Consolata is the daughter of the late ex-senior chief Daudi Owino Olak of Lifunga village, North Ugenya. The union was blessed with 4 beautiful children, namely Richard, David, Louisa, and Walter. As a husband, Luis was a caring and loving spouse. To his children, he was affectionate and a pillar to lean on.
Lord, I lift your name on high.
Conso appreciates her friend and partner, thanking God for the gift of his life. To Conso, George was caring, loving, and a great father. He was a pillar of strength, an inspiration, and a source of encouragement to her and the kids. Conso will never forget when Justice had a choice between her and a Harvard scholarship. He warmly and lovingly opted for her. Rest in peace, and may perpetual light forever shine upon you.
It is actually 1 year since my husband went to be with the Lord. It seems like yesterday. Louis Osiepa, the pain of losing you still remains fresh in our hearts. It has not been easy, but the grace of God has been sufficient. I have actually not come to terms with your sudden departure. Not a single day passes without reference to you. There's one pain I always feel, which you will never know. This is the pain caused by your absence. They say that time heals all wounds. For me, it has not. What it has done is given me more time to think about how much I miss you. I have bitterly learned that pain is indeed part of this journey called life. I have never stopped crying. I keep on wiping my tears and asking God to give me focus and direction. Sometimes life hits a slump.
and there's nothing we can do as human beings. I have kept my head up high and gaze into heaven, for that is where my broken heart will find healing. It is painful when someone you love becomes someone you loved. The flames of love become cold loneliness. The special memories of you always linger on. For us, you are not gone. You live among us every day. Your presence has never left us as we hold on to the values and virtues you so dearly taught us. Your presence is felt daily. Your radiance and kindness continue to inspire us with each passing day. Any activity we do, any engagement we do, we always do it for you. Osiepa, as I celebrate your life, I have learned that life is indeed a roller coaster of emotions. Even in my lowest moments, I still have to get up and face the world. You will always remain an inspiration to us, and your legacy will live on. We shall forever cherish your love, generosity, humility, joy, and the immense wisdom. Your legacy will for sure live in our beautiful children. You will never be forgotten. You will forever be my loving husband, the best dad, best friend, and our hero. Louis Osiepa, rest in peace until we meet on that beautiful shore. Indeed, we lost a precious gem here on earth, but gained an angel in heaven. Till we meet again, in God's arms you rest, in our hearts you remain forever. Rest in peace. Amen.
Rejected and alone, like a rose trampled on the ground. You took the fall and thought of me above all.
Richard Onguto remembers growing up knowing Judge simply as Dad. In his younger days, 3 honks of the car horn signified Dad's return back home from work, where he'd immediately ask if any of the kids were still up.
My one and only role model, one man I looked up to. I mean, growing up I had a few heroes in the sport of football, but you see, they came and they went. The one that never ever wavered was my dad. So off the top of my head, one poignant moment in particular that stood out was probably around back in 2005, 2006. I was about 12, 13 at the time, and we were really big on family sports back at Strathmore School. And I remember we were playing a game, fathers against their sons, or rather it was interchangeable. You had a mix of both all over. And towards the end of the game, I was pretty frustrated. Chances came and went, but he did something that probably sticks out with me till this day. He decided to go in goal. Now, he was never a goalkeeper growing up, at least from the stories I heard from him, from his closest friends, from uncles here and there. He was more of an outfield player, more of a sweeper. But instead he decided to take up the goalkeeping position towards the final moments of the game. And I had my one shot now. I felt if I could beat him, then I could probably conquer anyone and everyone else. So the moment did come. On my weaker side, my left foot, I remember catching it as clean as you like. I was sure this one, there's no way that anyone could save this, because that had to be the moment. It was probably one of the last kicks of the game. And what he did was, he stretched out for it. He was actually pretty poised to save that, but instead he knocked it right inside the goal. Now, at the time, I didn't see it that way. I just felt, I just scored against this man, and there's nothing he can tell me now, as far as football is concerned, at least. But yeah, moments later, after he sang my praises in front of everyone else, we want to finish the day up and start heading back home. And on the way to the car, he just pulled me to the side and gave me harsh truths. He let that go in, but he told me exactly where I needed to improve, the areas that needed improvement, what I did right, what I did wrong, and that I should trust those around me much more than I did. Trust my teammates better and apply that everywhere I could in life, not just on the pitch, but even people I work with, people I interact with. It gave me a lot. For that and many other reasons, today I find myself working in the sports industry. He knew how much I loved the game. He knew the things I was good at, the things that I wasn't. And he was never afraid to tell me the truth when I needed to hear the truth. He was my definition of a family man. That's a lasting impression he's left on me. I'm sure he's left lasting impressions on so many others. So it's on myself, my family, and all the people that he touched to just carry that legacy forward. We will, every day, one day at a time, we'll just keep fighting. Fighting to keep his legacy alive. I love you, Dad.
David Onguto considers his dad's strength that gave them the sense of protection. He thanks his dad for always doing his best for the family. He will always love his dad until they meet in glory.
It's amazing to think that it's been almost a year since you left us, and this goes to show that time flies and that time does not wait for anybody. I still remember the day Uncle Michael called me and gave me the sad news. I was hoping he was playing a joke on me. Up to today, I still think it's a joke, that maybe one day you'll come. You never know. Or I might wake up from a dream which has been going on for this long. You never know. But at the end of the day, accepting that you're gone is important, and it assists, because moving on is impossible. You can't just forget someone who you've been with for more than 10 years of your life, 20 years of your life on a daily basis, and that's why moving on is impossible, but accepting that you're not here can be done. And this energy can be used in a positive way, to know that you're in a better place and that you had finished your purpose on this world, and that the Lord had better plans for you, because you did more than enough for us, not only for your close family, but your extended family, for your friends. And I noticed this when I would hear your colleagues speaking, when I would hear other people speaking, newspaper articles, on the television, and seeing such things is important, because you know that my father worked for everything that he had. Nothing was given to him. The stories we heard about when you were young, how you'd walk to school, how you went to a girls' school. But yeah, such things are important. It shows that you have to work for what you want. Nothing will be given to you. And so those are things I remember on a daily basis now. On the days when I may be thinking of not going to class, I remember that that class may determine my future. Missing that class or attending that class may be crucial to my future. And yeah, I can only say thank you for everything you did for us. You did more than enough, as I said. And you may not be with us physically anymore, but I'm sure spiritually you're with us. Through memories you're with us, and emotionally you're with us.
Louis Onguto, Gali, said there is no bond like that of a father and a daughter. Dad has been my inspiration and motivator from the start. Most of all, Louisa will miss Dad coming home, and the first thing he would shout is Louisa, followed by Come Baby.
I can't believe it's been a whole year since he's been gone. A year. It's so weird. I still ask questions every day. I'm just like, why him? Why now? Why so soon? We still had so much to do, you know. But I always come up with the same answer. And that's just that God has a plan and God knows why whatever happened. And with that in mind, I just think of what he'd want if he was still here. And that would just be for me to work hard. Every single day, that was just his phrase. Whether he had traveled or not, like he'd call me or send a message and he'd just be like, work hard, my baby. And I hear that every day and it motivates me. It pushes me all the time. It's been hard. It's been really hard. Some days are good and some it's like, okay, we're strong, we can do this. And some days are just like, this is too much. But today, we're not gonna mourn. We're gonna celebrate his life, a life well lived, because he was such an amazing person. And we just cherish every single thing he did for us and all the beautiful memories we made with him. And we're just too thankful because that was actually my best friend in the whole world. And yeah, he's gone, but he's with us. He's watching over us all the time. He's taking care of us. And we're okay. Mom, we're fine. Everything is well because he's always with us every step of the way. Dad, I miss you so much. I miss you so much. And I can't even put it into words, but I love you. And I will hope you're resting in peace until we meet again.
To Walter Onguto, his dad was the best. He'll miss the way his dad always called him Baba, come. He joked with Walter's friends, bought him toys, Legos, and PS games. He'll forever love and cherish the moments he shared with his dad, more so on the holidays abroad.
I remember how he would take us to the mall or for holidays in places outside Kenya. He'd take us for dinner. He'd take us to buy new things. We always had good times together. He'll always be in our memories. I remember how he would take me and my friends out to see new things that we hadn't seen before. It was always nice being with him. And we'll just never forget him because we'll always love him. He'll always be our dad and there's no one else who'll take that position.
Rachel Oloch, a travel consultant and a family friend, remembers Justice as a man who loved his family and gave them surprise holiday treats to various destinations.
I was introduced to him when we met during one of her visits to my office to arrange for a family holiday. One thing I know about Justice is that he was a very, very honest person. He was very, very friendly, and he had a way that would just make somebody feel very comfortable, even if you had a legal matter.
For more than 3 decades, JLO was a close friend and trusted confidant to Engineer Peter Wandai.
Justice Onguto was a very conscientious person. And beyond our friendship, we also had a professional relationship. Him being in law and myself being in engineering, we had many moments when we discussed serious and deep professional matters. He was a dependable friend that you could always go to at any time. The Almighty God had his plans. He lived his life, and he lived it well and to the fullest. Everything he touched or did, he did it with passion and to the best of his abilities. And he made an impact, a good impact in all his dealings. So let us thank God that we had the privilege to know this wonderful and amazing character. And let us learn from his life and try to be good in our dealings with other human beings as well. As always, we will continue to pray for his soul to rest in eternal peace. And may God grant his family the grace to go through this. It will be tough, it won't be easy, but God always has his plans.
Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way from the earth to the cross.
On 1st July 2014, Onguto was appointed a judge of the High Court of Kenya, where he served until his untimely demise.
So even though he's gone, he has left a legacy within the profession, because even earlier on, before he joined the bench, he worked as a lecturer. His students remember him as a very good lecturer, one who was willing to mentor young people. And within the judiciary, he is also remembered as somebody who had very well-reasoned judgments, and his cases are there in the law reports.
Justice Richard Mwongo first met Justice Onguto in 1994 when he represented a client in arbitration, where Mwongo was the sole arbitrator.
The thing I remember most about that arbitration, and which remained in my mind always, was that here was this young advocate who was very passionate and very eloquent in his work, in his representations of his client. He had a very difficult case. It was a bad case, but I recall the great effort and the time he spent and the attempts to persuade me otherwise. When they were appointed, I was already in the High Court at the time. I was in fact the PJ by then. And of course we struck a friendship right away because we were able to relate on the basis of that arbitration, which he also recalled. And so I met Louis, I interviewed Louis for purposes of internal administrative things that we do in the judiciary. And so again there we were with Louis, and I recall he was just this jovial, very eloquent and sharp, absolutely sharp fellow in law. He had a very broad grasp and deep grasp of the law. Louis was also a very likable person. He was very personable. He was very affable with everyone. He spoke with just anybody he met. He had a very outgoing spirit. He was able to reach out to all sorts of people. In due course, it became a matter of fact that he was the one who was in charge of the welfare issues or discussions around welfare. And before long, we began to talk about the formation of a Judges Welfare Association. And Louis was the first person who came to mind. And of course, so we went for Louis. He was this very smart fellow in terms of his attire. He was always neatly dressed. He had his ties done up well, his suits matched. He was sharp in his attire.
Despite the fact Justice Onguto's experience from private practice was largely in commercial law and conveyance, he served with equal distinction in the environment and land, constitutional and human rights, and the commercial, tax, and the election court, delivering many precedent-setting judgments.
He became a judge, and one of the good judges we had. He was a very hard worker, very thoughtful, very practical. In fact, one of the things I learned about him was that as a judge, he was very practical in the manner he resolved disputes. During that time, I also got to learn from him how to handle cases, how to deal with difficult advocates. And I think I am much the better for it, having known him during that short time he was a judge.
Justice Onguto has been landed as a passionate and committed to his judicial duties. Fellow judges painted him as a reformist and acknowledged his sound and well-written judgments.
There are many things that I learned from my late brother. He was a really, really dedicated judicial officer. He wrote excellent judgments. He was somebody who you could consult on an area and he would never let you down. The late judge was a very intelligent, very bright person, one who was ready to share his opinion with his colleagues and to even encourage you to look broader into the issues that you were having before you.
He was always very generous with his time, his advice, materials. You needed an authority, Justice Onguto would send it to you, even at midnight. If you needed to discuss an issue, he was always ready and willing to discuss with you. So what I remember and really appreciated most about Justice Onguto was his generosity, his kindness, his willingness to help and assist in whatever way.
Onguto was also an excellent student. He was one of the best performers in the class of 88. Not surprising that he ended up with the appointment as judge of the High Court of Kenya, where he really excelled in the way he delivered his rulings. Very well thought out, full of wisdom, and of course, showing all the qualities that Onguto had. We shall miss that wisdom, and we shall miss the astuteness with which he worked with.
Words cannot adequately describe the vacuum resulting from the demise of Honorable Justice Joseph Louis Onguto.
Justice Onguto ne wang'eye nikech nobiro dalawa kokawo nyarwa. Kaka nokawo nyarwa ne wang'eye kendo kane wabiro dak Nairobi, ne wadak kode mapile machiegni, mapiyo wach matin kantie to waluongre to biro nenowa to wabende wanene. Kendo en ng'ama ne kuo mang'eny, en wach matin mohero ji. Kaka tho mare ni, Christmas mokadho mobiro tho bang' Christmas, nobiro ne waluonge Christmas, ne wabudho maber, ma nyithindo duto nobiro ka nobudhe, kendo ne wamor kabisa kwanene. Bang'e moromo matin tin, ema koro Nyasaye wawinjo ni Nyasaye okawe ayudha. So Onguto nobwogowa. Kendo ne en orwa mwahero. Kuom dalawa bende ne or matin kuom ji. Omiyo gima dwach onge, Nyasaye kende manokawe no, kech mana chunye kama ber.
I remember
Justice as a very humble person, full of humility and intelligence. His intelligence was unmatched even when we were growing up at home. As it's put in the Bible, there's the second book of Thessalonians 4:13 to 18. Don't mourn if you believe in the person of Christ. Because 16 confirms that if you have that belief, we'll soon meet justice when heavens come down. And the book of Revelations 21 puts it candidly. I saw a new heaven and a new earth, because the old heaven and the old earth passed away. I express my gratitude for the friendship, for the generosity, for the assistance that he gave me in his life. And the only thing we can do is to pay homage and remember a great son of game for his contribution both to mankind and contribution to the justice system in the Republic of Kenya.
You know, he would advise our siblings, our nephews, and we became very close, and we talked a lot on politics. You know, would say it, he would judge, and, you know, his character for a judge became, because when we talk, he would both listen and judge what we were talking, you know, in a conversation, and he would make a decision, and that decision actually would work that way. Even when we talk about politics, he would make some decision and say, it will, hey, check, it will be this way, you check, this one will respond this way, this will act this way. Come a week or two, we see actually that has happened.
Nilimjua 1985, alikuwa mtu wa furaha sana, mtu alitupenda sana, tuliishi na yeye na furaha. Ni mtu alikuwa anapenda mchezo, mtu wa kusaidia, mtu wa roho ya huruma, na alikuwa nilimkuta akiwa shule, nikiolewa kwao. Nilimkuta akiwa shule, alikuwa anafunga shule, anakuja anakaa na sisi Kericho. Na ni mtu alitupenda. Tuliishi na yeye mwaka mingi. Mpaka akamaliza university, akaanza kazi.
Uncle Louis played a very important role in my life and whom I've become. He never missed any of my visiting days when I was in school. I went to boarding school when I was in class 5, and he always came.
I remember so many things about Justice Onguto. He was a part of my life in different stages. First memory that I have of him was during their wedding to my auntie Kunso, and I was the flower girl at his wedding. From what I remember, it was a very interesting day, and I saw the pictures recently when I had gone to Justice Onguto's home to visit with my auntie and uncle. Call him Uncle Louis. The other fond memory I have of Uncle Louis is he was my lecturer in Kenya School of Law, and he taught us conveyancing. And I remember the first day I saw him walk into class, I was in utter disbelief. And he came in, he lectured us for a few minutes, and he asked a question, and then he turns to me and says, "So little Yvonne, can you answer that question?" And everybody in class stands to look at me like, why is he referring to you as little Yvonne? But I mean, they never got it.
I remember nearly 23 years ago, little Yvonne, as I'll always call her, was my flower girl. She was my flower girl in my wedding with my wife Consolata, and I will never forget that. And then some 15, 16 years later, the same little Yvonne was seated in my class as a graduate law student. She's continued to work hard, but I'll always remember us as the little Yvonne.
Justice, we will never forget you. You were a man who loved people, and you always stood by the truth. Because at times I remember you tell me when we were talking, Ati Lillian, this one I'll tell you for free. The truth shall always set you free. And I believe you, Justice. Because a few times that I've used the truth when things are tough, it has made it easy. But one thing I want to assure you, wherever you are, my brother-in-law, your wife is a tough woman. She has held the family together, and I'm so proud of her. She has taken very good care of the children and given them the strength that I'm sure you'd have wanted to do. So rest in peace, my brother-in-law. Until we meet again, all is well.
He was quite a wise person and very, very friendly, extremely friendly. Once you're with him, you're either laughing or making fun of someone and giving people nicknames. So it was easy to talk to him. He was quite approachable. He was quite funny. He was very friendly.
We have lost a very good brother-in-law. Onguto was a nice person. Everybody knows. Kuroka mentie, nasayo ketu chunye mabaya. Thank you.